And we're gonna go
Wow.
live.
Oh. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Evan and Aaron Show presents the Red and the Blue Soccer Chat. Oh my gosh, man. We are like live everywhere. This is beautiful.
This is awesome. Hopefully it's coming through. I hope the new quality, the new platform is going to work well. And here's what's awesome. We won't know until we're done with this show. Ladies and gentlemen, It's Wednesday. It's short show Wednesday, but we got plenty to talk about here.
Yes, we do.
Really, really excited. For those who don't know, and why would you? We have swapped out. You may notice that we have a slightly different appearance. We have moved from Zoom to Riverside. Mainly, we just couldn't negotiate that new contract with Zoom very well. And they wanted to send us out on another loan deal.
No guaranteed money at all.
We're going to try Riverside. We're going to see how it goes. And, we'll see if we come back.
Have we relegated? We've relegated Zoom, haven't we? They've moved down.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Well, it is what it is. You sometimes you got to move on. Sometimes
that's right, man.
Sometimes things just aren't right in the locker room.
No, that's awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on Wednesday, and we have a few things to talk about. Obviously, this is our short show, as Aaron mentioned before. Yeah. Till I die. And I literally died on Saturday.
I was gonna say, Evan, I played that one because the club's taken some arrows to the chest here lately, and their old boy, their old hero, their old legend, Fat Fred's Breakfast came to town with Everton, and actually really played well as well. I think they played well. Chelsea played poorly.
Yes.
Thoughts, man? Thoughts?
Okay, here's my thoughts, man. I've thought about this and thought about this and thought about this, and I knew the show was coming. This is the first time I will honestly say that I am really not happy with what Tuchel decided to go with as far as the lineup goes. Not happy with it. Now, the first half, okay, that's fine. But my question is, why do you leave one of the highest paid strikers on the bench, given the fact, yes, his performance has not been on point all season long. Actually, I take that back. At the beginning of the season, it looked like he was going to be the guy. It looked like he was going to be the leading goal scorer for us. And, that stupid interview happened, and it deflated. I think it deflated our entire season as far as, as far as him being a part of this team is concerned. But how do you leave someone that massive, that physical, that, influential in the box? How do you leave that person on the bench? Why not make, a mess of things? Last week, he made a mess of things and got a penalty, which I could have kicked better than Jorginho, but nevertheless got us a penalty. And we were able to, have the opportunity to score off of that. Why not try it again with a much lesser club? I'm not trying to take anything away from Everton. Everton, last week, my friend, we said this. I said, look, to play for here. This very well could be a trap game for us, and in my opinion, it was. And the person that fell into the biggest trap was Thomas Tuchel. He, in my opinion, left some cards that he should have played. And the other thing I want to mention about that is I have never seen someone lose it like Kai Havertz lost it. This young man, for the past 4 or 5 matches, Aaron, I know how you feel about this, and I feel the same way. This young man has resorted to playing the flopping game. I am not a fan. I think there might be strategic places to do it, because I think that you could very well make a defender pay for being stupid. Okay, I get it, totally get it. He is horrible at it, and he just needs to stop. He needs to stop. I mean, he's hurting the entire team. And if I look at Kai Havertz and I look at the performances that he's turned in for the past 2 or 3 matches, I start scratching my head. I start saying, you know what? Maybe Hakeem Ziyech, maybe he deserves to be back into the starting lineup. Not sure what happened with him as far as falling out of the good graces of Thomas Tuchel. But man, we are hanging on by a thread. This is a shaky team, and this is a team that's unsure of itself. And unless somebody steps up and listens to Mark Pulisic, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, man. Because I know you have something to say. But unless somebody steps up and says, "Hey guys, look, okay, jump on my back. Let's go. Let's take these last 4 or 5 games. Let's win. All we have to do is win 2 of them. Let's win 2. Let's win 1, and it literally we just have to draw the rest of them. I mean, that's it. And so I think we need to get there, man. But that match was it. I heard the Bad News Bears theme song playing the entire time that match was on, man. It literally was horrible to watch. Horrible.
Well, I think the biggest problem you've got right now is you're on a slide, and
worst time of the season to be in.
I think you're going to survive, in the top 4. Your run-in's not bad. Let me take a look real quick, but I'm pretty sure your run-in is not too bad.
No.
You've got, let's see, fixtures. Hi, Pooley. You've got, I take it back.
Well, who do we have?
Wolves are visiting the Bridge.
They're
mid-table.
They're kind of off right now. They're kind of
off. I think your bigger problem. Is going away to Leeds.
Yeah.
On a Wednesday.
Yep.
And then, but you've got those 2 games to get it right, because you've got to play Liverpool. The only saving grace about playing Liverpool is Liverpool may have one eye on Paris right now, right? But that's a team that wants to do something historic. They could get the quadruple, and that would be a very impressive feat. Settle down, Liverpool fans. I don't think it quite makes you the best. I mean, trophy wise, but not this team is not the best team in Premier League history. They're not even as good as the team that won the Champions League a couple years ago. So sit down. But Chelsea has got to figure some things out.
They do.
Tuchel needs to figure some things out. To your question about, why don't you bring Lukaku off the bench and that sort of thing, that's a tough one. Because I think Tuchel has decided, by the way, I want Thomas Tuchel to star in the remake of the movie Volunteers. Do you remember that movie?
Volunteers? No.
John Candy and Tom Hanks.
No.
They join the Peace Corps. John Candy intends to join the Peace Corps. Tom Hanks is running away from something. This is one of those silly, early 80s movies. This joke won't make any sense, but Thomas Tuchel, Tacoma, Washington. For the 4 people out there who get that joke.
I know, man.
Salud.
It sounded good, though. It sounded really nice.
I think Tuchel has an eye on next season. I think he's planning. No, bear with me. I think what he's trying to do is say, I'm going to win with the people who want to be here. And I think he's made it. I think it has become clear Rom is gone. And they don't really want each other. This was a poor, getting back together with the ex decision, right? They looked at each other across the room and thought, remember those good old days.
It's like, that's never a good idea.
You really just can't do that. So, and ironically, I bet Rom goes back to Inter Milan, and we'll see how that goes. let's hope they don't go to dinner together, Inter and
Oh my
Chelsea.
gosh. The only thing we have going for us, Aaron, is the last two matches are at the Bridge. Watford. Hopefully, we should be able to get through. Leicester City.
Leicester's on a
That's
slide. They've been struggling.
But once again, these Everton has a threat of being relegated, which means number one, okay, yes, they're going to up their game. But Chelsea, you are third in the table. Third. And I know there's a wide gap between first and second, but
Second and third.
I'm sorry, second and third. But you absolutely looked like a team that I'm going to say it on Sunday, they looked like a team that was facing relegation. They looked like a team playing that bad, man.
To your Kai Havertz point, they look like a team that's tired and is only playing for one thing now, and they're all looking to Saturday, May 14th as the only thing on their mind right now. And everything in between could be a problem because these guys care about that trophy. That's the trophy, right? FA Cup. That's massive.
Sure, it is. It's massive, but it's also massive if you don't put yourself in a place that you can compete for it again next season. I mean,
what I mean? Well, hold on. They should be able to manage the rest of this season to keep top four.
I hope so, dude. I hope so.
But
I really do.
Why is Kai Havertz going to ground? Here's a guy who's tired and doesn't want to get hurt before he plays in the biggest game of the season. Why isn't Romelu Lukaku playing? Because he's not in the plan. Rudiger has demonstrated a professionalism that neither of those guys have, and that's why Rudiger remains on the field in spite of his Chris Smallingness.
But no, Rudiger he's not causing problems in the locker room.
Right.
And I'm not saying Lukaku's causing. I think Lukaku is handling this really well. I don't think he's causing problems in the locker room. I think that the problems he caused in the locker room were back in January. And I think that he's not being a dick to anybody. He's not getting on there saying anything, which he very well could have, and he still can't. But he hasn't, and so for that fact, I'm like, you know what, that's cool. To say that he's not part of the plan, I think at this point, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think at this point, man, you pull out all the stops to ensure that top four. I mean, I don't know how you penalize. See, because in this is just my opinion. If you withhold somebody that potentially in a certain situation, yes, he's fallen out of graces with you. But if you let someone come in who has the potential to get you through, to get you to that top four, if you hold them out, you're hurting your team, you're hurting your fan base, because we see it. I mean, we see it's like, okay, yeah, sure, Lukaku's not going to be here next year. We get it. But use him while we've got him. The big guy can get in there and he can make a mess of things. He can make a lovely mess of things. And so let's just put him in and see what happens, because anybody in their right mind on Sunday, Aaron, could have sat there for 5 minutes and said, oh, this team isn't going to do anything today.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's just not. So
with or without Christian Pulisic on the field.
So that is my hot take of the match.
Bigger hot take is Christian Pulisic at Chelsea this time next year.
Or
is Christian Pulisic at Chelsea at the beginning of the season?
I would like to think so. I would like to think so. I would like to think that behind the scenes, I think Pulisic is a lot more patient than what we know. I think that the combination of him, Havertz, Mount, I just think it has way too much potential. And you throw a striker in there that we could get if we get a buyer soon. I don't know how you deal someone like him away. I think he's got that thing that not a lot of Chelsea personnel have right now. Like you like to say, he is that fox in the box. He's just around. He's there, and he pops up out of nowhere. I'm thinking of the West Ham goal. He came out of nowhere and scored that goal for us. So I would like to think he's still around at the beginning of next season. Is he around for the entire season? I'm a little bit more skeptical about that.
Well,
I'm a little bit more skeptical.
Interesting question I have, and until there's a buyer to come in and this sale goes through, Chelsea can't negotiate new contracts, right? They can't re-up a guy's contract,
right?
So it seems like players could leave if they want to, but I'm not. I don't understand the legality of it all. But I'm also wondering if you're under contract with the club, and if the club can't negotiate with you, then therefore you can't just terminate the contract unilaterally. I don't think, right? Like that would go to court of arbitration or something like that.
Right.
So
right.
Pulisic can't necessarily leave Chelsea either, right?
No.
I mean, unless I'm missing something, and maybe there's some European sports lawyers listening. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
I would like to
you.
point out one thing. If and when the ownership comes through and teams can begin negotiating, what works in your favor from a get money standpoint is, do you know who Christian's childhood favorite team is? I could see Christian Pulisic joining forces with his old Dortmund teammate, Jadon Sancho, running up and down the wings at the theater. The theater of dreams.
Dude, I'm a respecter of you, Trafford. I get it. I don't know how you. It's kind of like the whole. I don't know, the whole Baker Mayfield thing that's going on. Like they're not wanting to deal him to Pittsburgh. It's like I don't want him to come back and totally show us up. Because it's Pittsburgh. I'm not sure that you do that even as a new owner coming in. I'm not sure you even entertain that. You do everything you can to keep him from going to Man U. I
totally agree with you, but normally that's what happens is players leave London clubs and come to Manchester United. Robin Van Persie. That worked out pretty good. So to switch over,
yes.
The Red Devils played much better at the weekend. Granted, it was against a Brentford squad that, while they did put up a decent fight, they're quite happy to be where they are. They have exceeded expectations. They're staying up. They've got their talisman, Christian Eriksen, who I'm going to guess they're going to get a shit ton of money for just out of sentimentality. It's a great story, but they rocked up to Old Trafford pretty much happy to be exactly where they were, and they fought a bit, but it was United's day. It was Ronaldo's day. It was...
Yes. Okay, yeah. That's
Bruno
a great lead into my question for you, though.
His 50th goal for Manchester United.
Yeah.
And it was a very, very nice goal, and it was created by Anthony Alenga, who damn well better be sticking around at the club.
Love that kid. That kid. Here's my question for you. Cristiano Ronaldo. And I think last time we talked about this, you said that where's he going to go? Who's going to buy him at this point? Who's going to offer up the money for a guy that's in his late 30s? No, I get it. I totally get it. I really do. Why? What's with this Jekyll and Hyde show this year, dude? I'm like, he is killer at Old Trafford. What happens? What in your opinion? No. I'm being serious. He has scored last several matches at Old Trafford. 2 out of 3 of them, he's got hat tricks.
Mm-hmm.
What? I'm like,
He
what?
he
Where?
loves the home crowd. He's an entertainer.
Well,
What is the subtext to this question? Why doesn't he score more away goals?
there you go.
Okay, well, he's the second leading goal scorer in the league.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I don't think it's really a question. First off, United had up until recently the best away record over like the last couple of years in the Premier League. So I think the answer to that question is when they've won away, other guys have scored.
Okay.
I'd have to do a deep dive on that. I really would have to look into the specific stats. But the bottom line is, when it comes down to it, especially at Old Trafford, the guy is a performer on the biggest stage, and he comes through. And for as long as you can ride him, I mean, I'd have taken Zlatan back a couple years ago, even after the
Sure.
knee injury. He was playing well, and look what he's
Sure.
still doing for AC Milan. We don't need these guys to be their 29-year-old selves. We need these guys to continue doing exactly what it is they do best at this point, that they demonstrate. Ronaldo at 37 years old is one of the top goal scorers in the world.
Yes.
We need to
Absolutely.
bring in another striker. We need to bring in a lot. There's going to be a lot of movement this window, and this is a process. This is going to take, I think. People are saying take 6 windows, take 3 years to really do it. I'd like to see it done in 4, but regardless, it's not going to happen in 1. You're not going to
No.
send out 10 players and buy 10 players. It's just not going to happen. It's unrealistic. And quite frankly, that kind of shakeup would most likely not produce the kind of results you want. What you want to do is get rid of 6 and bring in 4, you know?
Okay.
That,
Okay.
that to me, that makes sense. You're reducing the overall size of the squad, and those 2 can be a couple kids coming up. Hannibal maybe. James Garner's played great for Nottingham Forest this season in the championship. There's a lot of speculation he should get some run. Garnacho sounds ready. I mean, Rangnick was saying he's been training with him for the last, I think, few weeks or month, and he's got all the tools, and he sees him getting better. So I'm excited. I'd like to see him get his, senior debut. He was on the bench at the weekend. Would love to see him get his senior debut at the end of the season. That's what tends to happen. I think, especially now that it's not mathematically over just yet, but if Arsenal pick up any points at all at the weekend, it basically is. So there's no reason to not play as many youngsters as possible. Get Juan Mata, his last couple. I mean, it was beautiful to see.
Sure. Sure.
What's sad, and again, it was Brentford. What's sad is, I mean, he was involved in everything. So this notion that he why weren't we using him before? He clearly made a difference. Again, Brentford, big game. It doesn't mean everything, but Ole and Rangnick have stuck with a very small group of players, except when injuries have forced changes upon them to use players. And I just don't get it. I really don't. And I don't see it, what's going on in practice. I don't see what's going on in the locker room. Rangnick swears there's not a problem in the locker room. And, other people say there is. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's criminal that you've got Juan Mata and Jesse Lingard and a number of other guys on the bench that, on paper, they aren't of the same quality. But when you're looking at this United team and they're not getting the results, they're not putting in their performances, what harm is there to play Juan Mata? Now you play him because Pogba and these other players are out. You give him a couple runs, and look how good he looks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really nerve-wracking. The fan base is all over the place right now. It's been really annoying to be on Facebook today.
Well, I was going to say also the second thing I wanted to ask you about was the fan base. You had some concerns there, man, as far as where they're at right now. What would you say to a Manchester United fan right now that is just at their wits' end? What kind of things would you want to say to fans?
Well, there's a variety of things to be at your wits' end about at the club right now. There are legit things to be very upset about. So the first thing I'd want is, hey, tell me exactly what it is you're upset about. The whole Glazers thing, I mean, do you really think you're going to convince an ownership group to leave. These are fucking billionaires, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and while the clearly, they haven't made Manchester United their first focus, Tampa Bay just won a damn Super Bowl. But
Sure.
but maybe they will be motivated. It they've never not splashed in the transfer market, but they've also not really done enough. But there is news they're breaking ground on a new training ground. They're going to upgrade Old
Oh,
Trafford, yada
okay.
yada. So
Okay.
maybe this is a turning point. But I think look, the fans made themselves look foolish when they decided to say, okay, everybody walks out in the 73rd or 77th minute, and then they all stuck around because Man U was beating that ass, and they're like, oh, we're actually fans of this club, and I don't know, prats is what I think is what the British would call them. They're prats. Um, you're spoiled. You're absolutely spoiled, and yeah, the club's going through some hard times, but don't turn into fucking Arsenal TV, man. This just don't. It's garbage, and I'm sick of
Mm,
seeing. There are plenty of players to be upset about, but Harry Maguire's getting death threats. That's dumb. If you're
that's
giving
not good.
death threats to a football player because he's not playing as well for the club that you support, and you give a death threat, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's
Seriously,
horrible. That's horrible.
unequivocally, there is no room for that whatsoever. Harry Maguire's not had a good season. That's no reason to go after his wife and kids.
Yeah,
That's just the
exactly.
lowest of the low.
Yep. Oh yeah, and that happens, all around the sports world, unfortunately, and I don't get it either. I don't get it. Like Manchester United is one of the most storied franchises in sports,
Yeah.
not just football, not just soccer, in sports. And I get that the fans are rabid. I get that they want their club to just be on top all the time. I think that the problem that you're talking about is a problem that is, like I said, that is worldwide, among a lot of leagues, and that is that there's just not as many educated fans as what we thought there were. Like,
Right.
it's like you can't win it all the
Yeah.
time. You look at some of the greatest sports franchises there are out there. You look at Barcelona. You look at Real Madrid. You look at your, PSGs. They all are on the world stage along with Manchester.
No, no.
Year, man, they had a
Yeah.
down year or two.
Well, they've had a down, damn near decade, and it behooves fans to remember exactly what Messi said a couple years ago when I think it was when, he was leaving a season or so ago. And, at the end of it, he's like, they didn't win the league either. And he said something to the effect of, it's disappointing, but I think we're forgetting, how many trophies we've won in such a
Yeah,
short period of time, and that's not normal. You
right.
know, you enjoy these patches, but in a perfect world, you'd have a different winner every year for 5 years in a row. You'd have still the same teams competing because that's how the business of the side of the game works.
Yeah.
But with such fine margins, you don't want to just see two teams dominating like that.
No,
And
no.
Manchester United have had the good fortune to really be one of those clubs to set the bar for what it means to be a world club,
Yeah,
to have dynasties and things of that nature, and
yeah.
to rebuild and maintain that.
Hmm.
It's very, very difficult. So it's really disappointing and annoying when certain fans can't accept that. And
Yeah.
I get it. There, like I said earlier, there are legit things to be upset about. There truly are.
Hmm.
But I think people need to keep things in perspective. Need to especially keep what they read in the papers, especially the British tabloids,
Yeah.
into perspective. And for as much as we love the game and as much as we study it and try to, you know, devour as much information as possible, I still don't drive to Carrington Training Ground. I'm not
Right.
allowed in the locker room. I don't have relationships with these guys, and nobody else does. You
Right.
know, even Paul Scholes. Let's face it. Yeah, maybe Jesse was the leaker all season long, but Paul Scholes just outed him as the leaker which I think is kind of silly. And
Yeah.
like I was talking about earlier, I'm not a fan of it, but at the same time, they say, a strong locker room, strong leadership, strong locker room wouldn't allow that to happen. Well, if you had a strong leadership and strong locker room, there wouldn't be a reason there wouldn't be anything to leak.
Exactly.
You'd have your shit
Exactly.
together, and
Yep.
hey, occasionally leaks come in handy.
It
So,
does. Ladies and
think we're
gentlemen,
at halftime.
yeah. Well, half/in time.
Yeah,
This is our short
roughly.
show. So, um, we're gonna put this all together, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. We're gonna treat this halftime shot as kind of the um, Aaron, I already know what my half shot is going to be dedicated to. That's why I have my you know Wonder Woman shot glass right here.
Yeah,
I think that the world of football has shown that we do care about causes, we do care about people, and I want to give my halftime shot out to ladies in the U.S. Particularly given the fact that our Supreme Court is behind closed doors, much like the Sopranos, making decisions, and it got leaked that they were legitimately talking about overturning Roe. It hasn't happened yet, but because of that leak, it shows that definitely is on the table. So that's my halftime shot. Just to hang in there. Just hang in there, ladies. You've got tons of us silent allies with you. And when you want us not to be silent, we will not be silent. But this is something that men, you know what? We need to be in support. We need to be there. We need to make our voices known too. But we need to follow the lead of the ladies on this, and be there right with them, and allow them to verbalize what they're feeling right now. But Aaron, send us out, man. This is messed up. And once again, I think that the beautiful sport can provide some insight. Just like we did to ending race, to saying, hey, we're gonna, end racism because we're going to keep it in the forefront of our thoughts. What do you have for us, man? What do you have for us, brother?
no, I second it. For those of you who don't know, this is a throwback to the real Evan and Aaron show before the soccer side of things, and we've got our very own Jamel Hill here. Dropping knowledge. No, I absolutely. I tell you, I try to keep it positive. So what I'll say is, what we've seen over these last couple of years, in the social world, in the sporting world, is the rise of female power and solidarity. We saw it with the WNBA as the first league to come back from the lockdown, do the bubble right,
Yep.
and stand by Black Lives Matter causes. We saw the same with the Women's Soccer League, NWSL, in America, which actually technically was before the WNBA had they had their own little tournament, a bubble tournament. So technically they were the first. But we've just seen some great things. We've seen the Barcelona women's team setting a new record at the Camp Nou for attendance, and then breaking their own record just recently as well. We're seeing just transformation in the way we look at women's sports, and because of that, women in general. So stay banded together. We are allies, and the last couple of years shows exactly what can happen when a group of people have a common cause and support one another and get after it. And that's what we're going to keep doing. So, Evan, to you, Slanty, all the ladies,
Slanty. Hang in
put your
there.
hands up, and salute.
Yep. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, hit that music, my friend. Send us out.
Boom.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
being
for
with
tuning
us.
in, folks. No matter how you've caught us, whether this was Facebook Live, whether you're going to the new platform on Riverside, maybe through Anchor, maybe through Spotify, maybe through YouTube, Instagram, hit us up, give us a like, follow us, give us a shout out, a comment, tell us we look silly, change our backgrounds. We try to put out polls, interact with us. We really love it. We have a blast. We'd be doing this no matter what, but it's a whole lot more fun when we get feedback and we hear from you guys to know more what you want to know about. Also, big ups along the women's line. The new Indy 11 women's team is kicking off. So be sure to catch them up at Grand Park. We wish them the best as well. So, Evan, love you, my brother. Hashtag stay gay.
Hashtag Black People Vote.
Damn Skippy, y'all.